first ever McLaren SUV is coming. Nobody's wanted to confirm it, so let me be the first. It's happening. On this show, we've nailed the Puro Sangue before it was ever released. We nailed the Rolls-Royce Spectre weeks before it even came out. We even got the rims right. I have no idea how that happened, but we got the rims right. The Lamborghini Tormenta hasn't yet been revealed, but it should look something like this. So now we're on to the next car, the first ever McLaren SUV. And as always on the show, I'm going to show you guys the front, the back, and even the interior. Before even getting started, I want to mention 2 points. Number one, this SUV will probably go into production around the year 2025 to 2026 and be revealed in 2024. So we're still going to have to wait a while before they reveal anything. And number two, this SUV is going to be fully electric. So not only is this going to be McLaren's first ever SUV, but it's also going to be the brand's first ever electric car, fully electric. So far, they've kind of dabbled into the hybrid space with the McLaren Artura, but they've never done anything fully electric. So they got a lot to work on before we see this car. The Artura is a sign of the times. Up until now, McLaren has been a combustion engine monster, focusing on making light cars with incredible gas-powered engines. This has been the case since Bruce McLaren founded the company in 1963, only 7 years before he tragically died on a racetrack. Bruce McLaren himself was an incredibly passionate race car driver, designer, and engineer. He died at the super young age of 32 while testing his new McLaren M8D, a car that pretty much defines what McLaren is all about. Fast forward to today, and the world is evolving. For one, we're now much more aware of how much we've destroyed the planet, and we're trying to reverse it collectively. Peace. Most car companies are now going fully electric, and it's only a matter of time before combustion engines get completely wiped out. In addition to all the environmental awareness, at the end of the day, business is business. What started as a smaller scale startup is now a full-blown international brand with fierce competition. McLaren's been financially struggling for a while now, and seeing Porsche, Lamborghini, and now Ferrari just raking it in kind of forces them to snap back to reality. And they have. A man by the name of Michael Leiders became the CEO of McLaren over in July. You want to know what Michael Leiders' last project was? The Ferrari Puro Sangue. You want to know where he was before the Ferrari Puro Sangue? Over at Porsche as a project manager developing the Cayenne. When asked about a potential McLaren SUV, Michael Leiders, the now CEO, told Autocar, "I developed an SUV at Ferrari, I developed an SUV at Porsche, so I love SUVs. We're not going to make this car for me, yet I think it's a really important market."
I think it doesn't matter what product you add to your product lineup. I think it's important that you maintain your DNA. You have to have a credible product for your brand.
That's a lot of SUV loving for somebody working somewhere that's never made an SUV. In another interview, Michael Leiders confirmed that McLaren was looking to expand its portfolio into new areas to generate more revenue. He also said that with today's lithium-ion batteries, he wouldn't want to make a fully electric supercar as it would weigh too much and wouldn't handle as well as an ICE or hybrid McLaren. However, an electric SUV or limousine would be okay as handling would not be as important and you could make it extremely powerful. I'm trying to make it super over the top. Now look, these are just words and there's nothing official yet, but if I was a betting man, I'd put my money, a lot of it, on McLaren revealing a fully electric SUV in the coming years. Assuming they're already in the early stages right now, we should get a reveal by 2024 and see it on the roads by 2025 or even 2026. And a lot can change by then. I mean, they might even go beyond electric. They might start doing hydrogen cars. In addition to all this, don't forget that Michael Leiders has also said that we shouldn't make a classic SUV. And given the fact that he's worked with the Puro Sangue, I expect this car to be more of a crossover than a classic SUV. You know, it's like shorter, more aggressive, more powerful, less bulky, less SUV-like. And on top of all this is that back in December 2021, McLaren already came out with a fully electric SUV, but it was an off-road racer. It was built for competition in the Extreme E Championship, a motorsport that aims to promote sustainability and climate awareness. Again, pretty suspicious considering the fact McLaren has always made gigantic engines. I wouldn't say that they didn't care about the environment, but this is awfully suspicious and comes at a very convenient time. It's even gotten messages on the paint job like ecosystems and race to zero, presumably race to zero emissions. So again, this SUV looks cool and all, but it's very far from being a road legal sporty crossover. So we had to design one ourselves. While this is unofficial, based on my research, online rumors, and my teammates' opinions, this is what we believe a fully electric McLaren SUV could potentially look like. Right there, look at that. You see how it looks like a crossover? It's much lower than a normal SUV, very sporty, huge freaking rims, very aggressive. It has a similar size to the Ferrari Purosangue. Quick observation, while you only see one flush door handle, this car will in fact have 4 doors like an SUV. And look, this is where we have to speculate a little bit. Because the Ferrari Purosangue surprised everyone by having suicide doors in the back, we gotta try to make a bold prediction. Now McLaren's got the iconic butterfly doors that go like this. Actually, they go like that. It would be pretty weird for a 4-door McLaren to feature normal, boring-ass doors. So maybe, while I don't think it's likely that they would have like a double butterfly door, what they could potentially have is butterfly doors in the front, on a crossover, by the way, which would look freaking crazy. And in the back, have suicide butterfly doors. Now, okay, we're getting a little bit carried away. This is a bit of a speculation, but imagine seeing an SUV sporty crossover that had butterfly doors in the front and suicide butterflies in the back. I mean, this would look bonkers. Over at the front, we can see the iconic McLaren face with those eyes. This time it's a little bit bigger than normal, of course, because it's got to fit the new proportions. It does have intakes, even though it doesn't have an engine. This would just basically be to help cool the brakes, cool the batteries, maybe some of the electronics in the middle, but we would expect to have some frunk space. It's also got the 2-tone side view mirror cups, which I think looks awesome always. It's got a blacked out roof, kind of like a 2-tone car in general. This is like what a lot of cars have been going for lately. And it's got gigantic 23-inch rims, a little bit more modernized as well. Right above the rims, you'll see the little vents, you know? It's got a lot of features from the Artura if you look closely. Usually what car companies do is they tend to use previous technology or looks from their previous model onto their future models. You see that a lot with like Lamborghini and stuff, right? They start to tease things, right? They never make something completely from scratch. Right now we have the Artura being McLaren's latest car, so we should expect some features from that to carry over to the upcoming SUV crossover. And lastly, rounding up to the back, it's got that kind of sloped shape, give it that super aggressive sporty look. But talking about the back, let's take a look at what the rear looks like. All right, here it is. This looks freaking sick. I mean, look at the back, man. This is just awesome. So first off, it's got the signature McLaren taillights, but this time it slides all the way end to end, cutting through the entire rear. Looks very elegant, very modern, but it's very, very clearly McLaren. It's got that McLaren design language written all over it, but it looks a bit more fresh. It's also got this little spoiler, which I think is just the right size spoiler for a car that looks like this. Obviously no exhaust pipes because it's a fully electric car. It does have a rear diffuser and a little bit of air vents just for airflow. But in general, I gotta give our team a little bit of a pat on the back because I think this car looks super realistic if you think about what this car could actually look like. That's the outside. You guys probably wanna see the inside, right? All right, let's open the door. Don't forget, butterfly and suicide butterfly. Let's open the doors up and jump inside. So on the inside, the first thing you'll see is that this car looks spacious for once. McLarens aren't spacious, they never are. Now you get more space, more legroom, a bigger armrest in general, that's a relief. You know, a lot of McLarens right now, they have this Alcantara leather, everything is very racy, everything's vibrating on the inside, it's loud. It's a real race experience, which is why people love the car so much. But this time, McLaren has to focus a little bit more on luxury and comfort. It does have some pieces from the Artura, but it also has some new features like the passenger side infotainment screen. This is something that will be more and more common. And since this car is coming out in the year 2025 or 2026, by then, I think it should be pretty established in general for most SUVs to have the passenger side infotainment screen. It just makes sense. So this will allow the driver to rip it down the streets while the passenger throws on their favorite terrible song, changes the temperature, puts your seat on heating, I don't know, different things like that, right? In terms of power, this car should produce about 750 horsepower, which is freaking insanity. But there are rumors of it going up to 850 horsepower. So this should be the closest idea to what the upcoming fully electric McLaren SUV should look like. So let me know what you guys think. What other features would you guys like to see? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.